Hello friends! Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Emily and I have some Rome stories to tell today using my Ali Edwards story kit, which I love. This month is so fun. My channel is completely dedicated to memory keeping, process videos. I normally post one video every week. Recently it's been every other week, but make sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. Today, what I have for you is a 6x8 2-page spread, and I'm actually going to be sharing two layouts today. So I'll put the reference for where to click ahead to. I have my journaling printed on one of the 4x6 cards that came in the Rome story kit. If you want to know how to do that, I'll link a video tutorial. So the story that I'm telling today is about roaming through some different neighborhoods in our towns shopping for houses. And so we got this amazing advice to kind of walk through different neighborhoods and really experience them on foot before we committed to moving there. And it was great advice by my father-in-law who gave us that tip. And I just wanted to document how much fun we had just walking through different neighborhoods, kind of the excitement of potentially living there. And I'm using this Color Cast Designs July wood veneer. It's sticky on the back. And my idea for this was originally to try to use that Rome acrylic, but I couldn't get it to fit on the photo. It just didn't work. So my second idea was to try to use one of the circular emblems, and I just decided to use the Color Cast Designs because I liked it better and I felt like it stood out more. But these really cute flags that came with the kit that have all these different sayings on them, like explore, breathe, get outside, wander, roam. I wanted to kind of arrange them in a little like sunshine or sort of, yeah, like a sun pattern. I know there's another word for it. I'll think of it later. So for the other side, I'm going to be using this 3x4 journaling card that I cut out the Let's Roam. I actually had done it from another layout and didn't end up using it. So I had these little purple pieces from the outside of that journaling card that I wanted to use in the Starburst pattern in order to tie in that color on the left side of the page as well. So as I was looking at those little purple strips, I immediately started thinking they were a little bit boring as a solid color. So I grabbed a couple of just little design stamps and used some white Stays On Pigment ink to stamp this little stamp. It's actually 3 little stars from the December Studio Calico monthly documenter kit. And I wanted it to kind of be in a little bit of an ombre pattern, so I stamped it a lot more heavily toward the base of where it would go by the July veneer, and then did it a little bit more diffuse as it got further down. And then as I was looking at that, I realized I liked it, but I thought it would be too much to do every single one. So I thought I would go every other purple one with the little white stamping. And I still tried to use the Rome veneer. I really wanted it to work, but it didn't work. I'll use it on another story, I suppose. So as I'm adhering these down, you can kind of see I was really struggling. Every time I stuck one down, then the July piece would move, and I really wanted them to be somewhat symmetrical in terms of the distance between each of the flags. And so each time I'm having to move it back and forth, and then eventually I had the idea, which I should have done at the beginning, to put a little foam adhesive piece in the middle of the July wood veneer, and that ended up being, I should have done that to start with, because then you can kind of stick those little pieces of paper under it, and then it can allow you to get the pattern that you want without having to move the July piece every single time. So I finally did that, and then it wasn't enough to keep it there permanently, but it was just enough to sort of hold it in place, and then I could easily pull it off once I was done. But then I realized actually with that foam piece that I liked the dimension that it created. You can't really see on the video that the shadow is like so small, but in person I liked how it was kind of raised off a little bit. It made it stand out from the photo a little bit more. So I decided that instead of just using the adhesive that's on the back, that I would use more of those little foam pieces. And when I'm using foam pieces, I try to put them as close together as possible to alleviate any sag. With a piece that's like wood, and that's probably firm enough that it's fine, but I still like it, the more closely together you can pack your foam adhesive, the better. There I go, trying to use that Rome piece again. I was really wanted to use it, but it did not happen. Spoiler alert. So moving on to the right side of the page, I'm going to use a divided page protector with 2 3x4s on the top and a 4x6 on the bottom, and I wanted to keep it pretty simple. I wanted the focus of it to be really on that July starburst and on the big photo, and then of course on my journaling. And because this actually really was a surprising story that I wouldn't have told but for this prompt of Rome. I was really kind of racking my brain like, oh well, I'm not really roaming, so what do I talk about? But then when I thought of that, I was like, oh, this is so perfect, because it actually is a really special thing that happened that I probably wouldn't have otherwise documented. So I grabbed a piece of scrap vellum and stamped this cute camera stamp that came in last month's Studio Calico kit, maybe 2 months ago. I'll link it below. And I was lucky to find a piece or a stamp pad that's almost that exact purple color. Unfortunately, it's not an alcohol-based ink, so it really doesn't stamp on vellum super well. It never really fully dried. So I carefully, without messing and getting ink everywhere, which actually I did get ink everywhere, fussy cut it out. It's not totally on camera, which is probably for the best. I don't know about you guys, but I hate watching people fussy cut stuff. It's like makes me antsy. So I'll try not to put you guys through that. I also found this circle embellishment. I don't even remember where it's from. I know it's from Ali Edwards, but beyond that, it's been in my stash for a really long time. But I thought it kind of was a good circle motif and transparent enough that it matched with the overall vibe. So this is a 4x6 card that came in the kit. I almost used my 3-inch circle hole punch, but it was gonna be too big. So I grabbed my die cutter instead and just my nesting circle dies. I use this orange washi tape all the time because I don't like it, and so I don't care if I just use it to stick on dies and stuff. So I got that punched out, and I didn't end up using it because I just thought it was too busy looking. Actually, on camera, it looks better than I thought it did in person. All of these probably would have been fine. But in the moment, I decided against it. So in just a moment, something very sad happens. My camera stopped recording and I didn't know. So there is a glitch in time. There it is, skipped ahead. So what you missed is I grabbed 2 Color Cast Designs hearts to kind of tie in that wood color on the right side of the page so it would match the wood on the left. I grabbed a little cardboard, it's like a quasi cardboard piece of cardstock, used the back of it to attach the pleather veneers that came in the kit. There were 3 of them. And then I circle punched a piece of white cardstock to make it stand out a little bit. And I grabbed a little sentiment stamp and stamped. It's the little things. I bent the stamp in a circle pattern around that. And then that was it. I just put everything into the page protectors, which I always try to do carefully so I don't knock off some embellishments. Which sometimes happens anyway. And then there it is in my album. And yes, it is signed by Ali Edwards. This is my scrapbooking flex. I'll do a whole video on the amazing, honestly life-changing experience when I got to meet her at Story Camp. It was so wonderful. And now every time I put a layout in my 6x8 album, I get to see her signature and be so inspired. Okay, let's do layout number 2. Okay, so for this layout, this is a 12x12 layout, and it's documenting my sister. She took a big road trip moving from Oregon out to Illinois with her boyfriend. So it's obviously a really important story, a big life change for her and for me, not having her close by anymore. So my idea is to kind of take these smaller photos and then put them along a little bit of a track path to kind of like plot their road trip course. And then I got these cute state stickers from scrapbook.com that I'm going to try to use as well. One from Oregon and one from Illinois. So you can see my sketched out layout that I was trying to follow. It didn't end up turning out quite like that because I think I probably ratio-wise should have used 3x4 photos, but instead I had 4x6, which was fine. So I plotted out this sort of roundabout path in pencil, and then I took it over to my sewing machine. I was originally just gonna leave it at the thread sewed pattern, but it didn't stand out quite enough. So there was this really cute 4x6 sort of rainbow pattern card in the Rome kit that I cut up into a million little plot pieces, for lack of a better term. And this actually took a very long time, which is why this is an ultra fast forward, but it was so fun. And I definitely think this is an idea that can be improved upon. I want to try it again. And then I think I've got some ideas about how I can make this a little bit better. For one, I think using pieces of paper that are a little bit smaller that will bend better around a loop pattern. I didn't like how they were just a little bit too big, I think. And then another thing that happened, you can see on the lower right, is there's a little bit of a jerk on the sewing pattern. When you're sewing on paper, it's very slippery, and so it can very easily jerk. I try to go really slow, but then I also get impatient, and so as soon as I start going fast, then it will just jerk. And then luckily that's an area that I was going to put a photo anyway, so it'll be covered up. And then I had a really fun time just picking out a ton of different embellishments to go along with the photos. Originally I was planning to kind of space the photos out along the plot map, but they were a little bit too big. It just didn't quite look the same as it did in my head. So I ended up just kind of having one cluster of photos and embellishments at the top that you can see where the map is kind of orange, and then one at the bottom where the map is kind of blue and green. And so I tried to sort of color match the photos and some embellishments to just make the embellishments orange where the map is orange, and then blue and green where the map is blue and green. And then these little plastic pieces that came in the kit. There's a geotag and a car. There's a whole bunch of others too, but these are the two that I ended up using. The car, of course, is perfect because it's a road trip. And then that camera is the same technique I used in the last layout. I just clipped it out for time since we'd already done that on camera. And the ink that I used for that is Ali Edwards Tillamook, and it was like the perfect color. It matched the kit perfectly. And so then I'm just sticking everything down with Yes Paste. And then I hand wrote my journaling on that orange journaling card. And then that was it. So again, this is definitely a busier layout than I normally make, but it was so much fun. And it was fun to fit a lot of different photos into one layout. With a road trip, you could easily make a whole album out of it. So I was trying to fit a lot onto one page, but it was so fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and definitely make sure to click that subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks guys, see you next time.